Perfect.
All right. Let's see. Am I in? I'm out of the picture.
There you go.
There we go. Okay, everybody. It's 9 o'clock on Monday the 29th of April. And this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and
this is D. Taylor Jolley.
And we are the Jolleys, authors of the book. Let's make sure we get in the frame. Make love, make money, make it last. And
we welcome you in this
audiobook.
And we're in Michigan.
We're in Traverse City, Michigan. Yes. And we were in Detroit earlier. I spoke this morning for General Motors and for United Auto Workers, and had a tremendous time.
In Detroit.
And then we drove up here with our dear friends, Kenny and Rudine Glass. They are featured in our book. We talk about them in the book as object lessons, and they are featured in a couple places in the book. They are talked about in the acknowledgments as Kenny and Rudine Glass, married over 40 years. As well as the fact we talk about them specifically in the chapter about money matters. Money matters. The last of the 10 chapters, the 10 secrets, is that money matters. So you got to know how to deal with the money to have a successful marriage. And we have been friends with them for many, many years.
Why don't you let him tell?
Oh, wait. This is Kenny Glass. But I was going to just introduce them. We've been friends with them for many years. And Kenny contacted me after I spoke for Ford Motor Company. He read about me in the newspaper. He contacted my wife. She said, call him on his cell phone. He said he's from General Motors. So he called me, and I came to speak for his safety conference, and we clicked like we've been friends all of our lives. And so we are grateful. They have great children. We were at their daughter's wedding.
They had 3 children.
3 children.
2 girls and a boy.
And we were at their daughter's wedding on a boat on the Hudson River.
4th of July.
4th of July.
Yes.
At the foot of the Statue of Liberty. And we had a great wedding, great reception. And then we had fireworks, a very private, small gathering. We were honored to be invited. This is my dear friend, Kenny Glass. And for those who Kappa land, y'all know him because he's one of the Kappa kings. Anyway, y'all been married for 40, how many years?
Going on 48 years now, right?
48 years.
Yes.
Wow.
All right, so you met in college.
Yes, we met at Wilberforce University.
All right, and
fell in love and been together ever since.
Amen. And she's just as sweet as she can be, and he is just as nice as. Okay, so let's talk about how do you stay married for 40 years, 3 kids, ups and downs, challenges, all the above. What are some of the secrets?
Okay, why don't you give a little bit of background in terms of the fact that Kenny worked in a corporate environment and Rudine kept the home fires burning. How did that work? Talk about that quickly.
Well, originally after graduating from Wilberforce and General Motors Institute and being launched out into corporate America, it took a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of traveling. It was just really involved in a lot on the work setting. And fortunately, I had a great partner that stayed at home by choice and literally helped to support the children until they got up age where all 3 were in school. And then she re-entered the workforce for a while, but still kept her hands on the pulse of the children and supported them, nurtured them, and just helped them through life. And go ahead, Rudy, tell them a little bit more about what you did.
Well, actually, again, it was a team effort. Working with General Motors, corporate America, it required a lot of just focusing, a lot of focusing, a lot of traveling, and therefore the children were at that point young, and they needed that home base, that firm home base. So I said, okay, this is it. I want them to, do those things that youngsters do. So I said, okay, I won't work now, but I will a little later. And so I just kept everything going.
On the way up here, now it's a 4.5-hour drive from Detroit up here. She talked about how she would drive here once a week when her daughter was in high school in the
Anna,
Anna, the oldest daughter.
The oldest
She
child.
she
Yes.
made the commitment and the investment of time and resources for her to be in one of the top art school in America.
Yes.
Was up here, and she would drive up on the weekends to make sure she would see her daughter while
Because
he
the
kept
daughter
her.
was a boarding school. What was the boarding school?
Boarding school, Interlochen Arts
Interlochen,
Academy.
uh-huh.
Right.
Arts Academy. She started in the 9th grade, a high schooler, and so that she could stay connected to the family, and she had a younger brother and a sister. I made that commitment.
She
We
made that.
the commitment.
They made that commitment. Well, the commitment, as I told them, was well served. They now have a daughter who is
The executive director of the Dance Theater of Harlem.
wow,
Yes.
the
Whose
executive.
background is, you got to tell that.
Go ahead, Mom.
Background.
I'll let you talk about the background.
Of course, she graduated from Oberlin College with a background in economics and history.
Wow.
Went to France and studied there as at the Strasbourg University, International Economics. Came back and graduated from Oberlin, and was presented with a law school scholarship.
Wow.
So she finished law school in Dayton, Ohio.
University of Dayton.
University of Dayton Law School, 3 years, completely funded by someone else.
Wow.
Praise
a
the Lord.
sponsor.
And she danced professionally at the same time.
At the same time,
Wow.
yes, while she was studying for her law practice and for the exam, she danced in Dayton.
Wow. Well, she's gone on to become, as they said, the executive director of the Dance Theater of Harlem.
Of Harlem,
And
yes.
there she's a history maker, and she's awesome. And they made the investment early on in her Rudy being able to stay home with the children while he fought the battle going up the corporate ladder. And I mean, he went all the way up to the top in GM in terms of safety. And he started at, y'all were in Saginaw for a while?
Saginaw, Toledo, Defiance, Flint.
Wow.
And Dayton.
Moving the whole family around.
Moving the whole family around.
Yes.
And he also told us that part of the GM culture was that they would have these meetings that he would organize, that they would bring all the attendees, because of the size of GM, over a month, the same meeting over and over again for 4 weeks. So he'd have to be away for 4 weeks.
Yes.
So, but they made it work.
You were the head of the family.
So how did you
was
make
the
it
head of
work?
the family.
What were the things that kept it from fracturing, from pulling apart, from all sorts of things could have happened, but you made a commitment.
Well, and let me just say this, Willie, before we dive into that. I just want to say, Rudy had a lot of dreams, and they were deferred a little bit, but those dreams still came true.
Amen.
She went ahead after the kids got going and got up in school and were doing. She worked on her master's. She got her master's. And after all the kids got out of the house and we were kind of home alone, instead of her sitting back saying, well, I'm just going to relax and take it easy, she got her doctorate.
Wow.
So that just goes to show you that you can defer your dreams and still make them happen.
Great lesson. And you supported her.
All the way.
All right. And she supported you.
All the way.
All the way. So what we want to show couples is that it's possible. Now, it's going to take some work. You got to have a dream. Y'all had a dream together.
Yes.
All right. You had a dream for corporate. You had a dream for you. But you might have to defer them. Or you might have to put them here while
They
we're working on it.
decided how they were going to work the dreams.
Yes.
Correct. We talked about it, and what's important is you've got to communicate it right up front.
Communication.
Communicate it. And if you lose that, if it slips, you got to keep saying it over and over, because you get so bottled in what's taking place outside that you can forget, she did say this.
Yeah. Okay.
And I forgot it, so let me bring it back to
Okay,
light.
a couple quick questions. For one, we want to talk about is money. Now, we talk about in the book that the 3 things that break up marriages. 3 things that break up marriages: sex, money, and communication. When you stop doing that, they've already talked about it. You got to talk about it. You got to keep talking about it. You got to remember. But then the money. We want to focus on the money with them because they are our object lesson on one of the systems. For those who might be joining us for the first time, or you're getting this from somebody who's sending it. And by the way, We want everybody to like it. Like. I like this. Share. This is saving marriages. We had a couple who said they started watching this Happily Married Monday. They were on the verge of divorce. The wife said she started watching it, and she was able to somehow cajole her husband to watch it, and they started watching it, and their marriage got better, and they're doing much better.
Wow.
And so we know this is working. Our goal when we wrote this book was to save 1 million marriages and enhance 1 million more. So we want you to share this with your friends, family members, people you know are struggling in their marriages, all sorts of drama. One of the drama points is money. Now, we learned in our research that there are 3 systems, and we believe that you should have systems for not arguing. We haven't had an argument in over 30 years, and we learned because of systems.
Not that we don't disagree.
Not that we don't disagree. We just don't argue because we learned systems.
How
about y'all? Y'all got systems for dealing with stuff.
You need systems.
You got a system.
You need a way to say time out.
There you go. Come on now.
That's another word.
That's
okay.
another one. Yeah.
And then work at it. Or in school, we would tell the children time out.
Uh-huh.
And then back away for a while, and then come back and say, okay, this is how I would like to see something done. Now, how would you like to see it done?
And y'all talk about it. How I would like. I like that. This is how I would like to see something done. Now, how would you like? So both of y'all can compromise.
You need to compromise.
All right. So let me read the piece in the book about Kenny and Rudine. We learned that about money, that it typically, the system is determined by the age and stage of the couple. There are 3 parts. There's the 1-part system, the 2-part system, 3-part system. The 1-part system is typically chosen by people who get married right out of high school or college. They are usually at the start of their careers with no assets and very limited money, but willing to work together to achieve the life of their dreams, what you've already heard. Our dear friends, Kenny Glass, an executive of General Motors, and his wife for over 40 years, Rudine, used this 1-part approach. When they married, their only asset that they had together was love. They had nothing, okay? They had nothing but love, okay? They were both young, right out of college. They happily lived off of Kenny's salary and found that Rudine was a good money manager. And she handled the checkbook. They had 3 children, and Rudine stayed at home to focus on raising them while Kenny climbed the corporate ladder. When the last child started school, Rudine started working. The money she earned was banked and provided the extra financial cushion for the family. After all the children had left the nest, they stayed with the 1-part approach because it worked and still works for them. Let's talk about that.
All right.
Now, y'all have been able to make that work, but you started with nothing, but you built this 1-part strategy system, and over the years, Rudine has kept a checkbook.
Yes.
Kept the checkbook, watched the checkbook, put out of the checkbook, but made sure that what was coming in balanced with what was going out. So we had that 1 pot, everything, 1-pot approach.
Now, but then you now I thought was interesting that we understand that when one person's making money, or you might have made a little bit of money, but when you started making money, you still stayed with the 1 pot.
Yes.
We stayed with
all the money went in 1 pot.
One pot, so that when we could see it build, and if we had to divide anything up, it was going towards the savings.
Okay.
So we also had 1 check approach, and we would bank 1 check, live off the other.
Wow.
Okay. Bank 1 check, and that was our 1 pot approach.
Okay, so question is, let's say you got a big, something has to be paid for, a new refrigerator or something. How do y'all handle that? Or what gets people really messed up is you want to buy a pair of shoes, okay? Or you want to buy some golf clubs. How do y'all work that out?
If you have 1 pot.
If you got 1 pot.
Well, there was a point to sacrifice. Do we need it now?
Do you need it now?
Do we need it
but
now?
there's something here I want to make sure that we don't skip. We sacrificed, but you talked about it.
We talked about it. I have a favorite story I tell all the time. at one time when we first started out, I was working for GM, making good money, and my wife was at home. We had one child, and she was budgeting everything and watching everything that went in, went out, trying to make sure we paid our student loans and everything else that we had out there. And so she was the budgeter, and she planned the meals and everything. And I never forget, one night I sat at the table with her, and I said, sweetheart, I said, you know, I'm really getting tired of just having hot dogs and baked beans. And she looked at me and she said to me, well, honey, let me tell you something. I know you would prefer having steak, but let me just say this. When we can afford it and you bring home steak money, I will gladly give you steak. And I sat there for a moment and I said, wow. And it made me realize that she was watching what was going on. She was providing a wholesome meal. There was nothing wrong with what she was providing. But even though I had this big appetite, because I'm like, well, I'm with General Motors, and I ought to be eating steak. Well, yeah, that's true. But right now, you've got to look at what we're bringing in, what all our expenses are, and what we need to apply them to. And as time goes along, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Well, they did. They got there, and they, as she said, they budgeted. Y'all had a budget.
Yes.
Do you have a budget? Do you have a budget? One of the things we found from couples who we've come to us who all upside down, they mad at each other, they angry, they want to break up because they didn't have a system. A budget gives you a system. What's your monthly budget?
I think when you talk about the budget, first of all, you have to talk about the money that each person, whether it's one or two, you both have to know how much money there is coming in before you can figure out a budget.
All right, okay, but then you get the budget.
Right.
It's a system. And then you have one person taking care of that budget. But then the kids got older. They put one check in the savings and one they lived off of. They didn't get extravagant because they had more money. And as a result of that, they were able to buy some rental properties and some other things, and as well as putting your kids in properties while they could go to school. They could prepare. So they planned it out, and now he just retired from General Motors.
Happily retired.
Woo! Happily. Look, they all these folk calling me saying, I'm taking a little time off, okay? So it's why we were able to come up here and hang out with them. But what do y'all say are some of the secrets to tell the couples about just a mindset about money and not to let the money mess up your marriage?
And not let it dictate you dictate it.
Oh, come on, say it again.
So not let it dictate you dictate it. And what Ken was saying, when you have hot dog money, you eat hot dog. That's not putting anything down, but if you don't have that extra monies there, don't live from check to check. You'll never get to where you're planning to go.
Wow.
And that's why we came up with the bank one check, live off the other check.
So they had a goal in mind where they wanted to go.
Yes.
So that encouraged them to bank one check.
To bank one check, yes. So when we got to retirement, that concept of living off of one check, banking the other, kept growing. That one that we never touched kept growing. And we still have that in mind. We still live by that because the monies that we were invested, that's the money we're going to live off of, but we still have this huge pot that we can say, okay, our children, we can help them out now that they're...
And then you talk about good grandparents. This is...
One grandchild.
One grandchild. This is Mima. Did I say it right?
Grandma.
And
Paye.
Their granddaughter is in New York City, and their daughter and her husband, and they are the best grandparents. But they were the best parents because they, as I told them, Dee and Rudine are cut from the same cloth about raising children. She would drive 4.5 hours to visit her daughter every weekend. Dee would drive 45 minutes every day to take William to school. And they were committed to their children. Well, all of them have done well. William's an attorney. Both their daughters are attorneys. Their son is a teacher. Yes. And so they've done well. Now, just in the last few minutes we've got. By the way, we want everybody to go get Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. It's on Amazon now. We're grateful. It's now on Amazon. You can get the hardcover collector's signed version at jollymarriage.com. If you want a signed collector's version, go to jollymarriage.com. Order 2 copies. 2 copies. We highly recommend one for each one of you in the marriage or in the relationship. Now, if you're single, you can get a copy because there's a chapter in there for people who are not yet married. But I will tell you about the lady we met at the church who came up to us real quick. Oh, I need 2 copies real quick. Can I get them? Because my husband's on the way. And I said, she needs 2 copies. Sign 2 copies. I'll sign 2 copies so she can have them when her husband come pick her up. She said, pick me up? She said, I ain't got no husband. He on the way. So she got 2 copies. But I recommend married couples get 2 copies. Go through it. Every chapter at the end, there are learning points. I want you to read it chapter by chapter together. Talk about the marriage points and then talk about what you've learned about each other. And so get that at Jolly Marriage. You can get Amazon just to get a copy or 2 copies, but you want autographed, go to our website. And then get jollymarriage.com/live to get the live recording at Grace Church. I'm going to be speaking at Grace Church this Friday for their leadership, Renaissance leadership. I'll have some of these available for those who might want to meet me there. But if not, go to just jollymarriage.com/live. Okay, tips for what did you tell your daughter and your son-in-law? I know y'all had talked with them.
Use that concept. Live off of one check.
Okay.
Bank your other.
Okay, and what else? I mean, beyond money, what else did you tell them about fidelity? Having fidelity, not infidelity. Staying with the one you married.
And they travel a lot.
And they travel a lot. They
Separately, I mean, like
Yes.
Anna travels with the production company.
With the production company, and John Louis, her husband, has committed himself to. She's gone away. I will step in
and take care
of
the baby,
of the child, and also make sure the house is comfortable when she gets home.
And what did you say to your children when they got married? What was their advice to them?
Well, my biggest advice was take time and think of the things that you're trying to accomplish and set your goals.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And stay focused on those goals. And we try to encourage that by having family calls, family meetings, and we discuss goals.
Okay.
And if you miss it a little bit, we say, okay, let's look at it again. Let's see how we can accomplish that. But that's something we do, and we also have a prayer circle. And every day, Monday through Friday, at 9 a.m., we have a prayer circle for the whole family.
Wow.
Now, if they're tied up because somebody's in a meeting, or if they're on an airplane,
or on Facebook,
that's understandable. But they know at 9 o'clock, mom and dad are going to be praying, and they call in, and we hook everybody on the phone call. We talk about, is there anything pressing? Is there anything that we need to specify or just take a real hard look at or pray for? And then we go into prayer, and we try to keep it around 10 minutes or so.
Oh, that's great.
And we say
that's a great tip.
We say we love each other, and we look forward to talking to you again the next morning.
Wow, isn't that a great tip? Yes. Prayer time, a family prayer circle. They talk to each other. They have family meetings. They set goals, and they talk about the goals. And if you don't hit the goals, how can we help you to maybe rethink this? Maybe it's like a mastermind group,
right.
and it's a family mastermind. And so I just think this is profound. These are great tips from a couple been married 48 years, happily married.
Happily.
December 23rd.
Oh, wow. So they will be in December, 49 years.
Yes.
And then a year from now, we're going to have a big party.
Yes.
All right, big party, all right, for the 50th. So we just want to say to everybody, please listen to this advice. These folks are walking, talking examples. We've been around them a lot. They're always loving. She calls him daddy.
Yes, dad.
And he calls mom.
Right.
And they talk to each other. And I
think
noticed
it's how they talk to each
and
other.
how they
too.
talk to each other, very lovely
sweet,
and sweetly,
very respectful.
And as we were driving up here, she was his navigator. I was checking y'all out. Yeah, you were navigator. He said, "Mom, here this way. Which way, Mom?" She said, "You go this way," and he would follow her advice. Now, what that is called is this trusted advisor. We talk about it in chapter number 7. How to handle stalemate. We talk about how my mom was my dad's trusted advisor. But this was back when she had a Chevrolet, 1956 Chevrolet, General Motors car.
All right.
She would roll that window down. Because you remember back there, Kenny, you had a rear view mirror on this side and
Yes.
one here, but nothing on the other side.
That's
Am I
right.
right?
That's right.
And so my dad said, "Can I get over?" She'd roll that window down. She'd stick her head out the window. She'd say either yes or no. And depending on her advice, that's what he would do. That's how they were able to stay married. That's how y'all, because she is his trusted advisor.
And still today, on the ride up, she said, "You can move over now." I said,
That's right.
"Okay."
That's right.
But yet I had the blind signal, I had a mirror and everything else. But she said, "Dad, you can come on over now." I said, "Okay, thank you."
So these are a couple we want you to learn from. Kenny and Rudine Glass. They are some of the greatest, most wonderful people on the earth. We're glad that God put them in my path and Dee's path. They're friends. They had an impact on this book. They had an impact on our lives. And we want them to have an impact on your life. So please send us questions if you got questions. And maybe every now and then I'll get them on the phone and ask questions. But they have talked about how the one pot worked for them. We talked about the Boardleys, who y'all might have seen earlier when they had a 2-pot. And we do the 3-pot. The 3-pot is she had a very successful career coming in. She had been a very successful woman, single woman. I had a business and I had run my own shop. What we did was we got married older. And so we had some assets, had a little this, a little that. So we got her account. She put my name on her account. I put her name on my account. And then we got a household account. She keeps the checkbook. She writes all the checks. And I trust her.
But we talk about
We talk about every bill. Every bill.
All the details.
All the details. So the communication is critical. It's the trust, the respect, and you can have a happy marriage. We want happy, jolly marriages. Happily Married Mondays is for you to have a happy marriage. Well, thank you, Kenny and Rudine Glass. Our time is up. Hope y'all are ready for seeing us. We're going to have a marriage seminar June the 1st. If you're interested, send us an email. We're trying to get as many people to know how many we got to plan for. It's going to be June the 1st in Washington, D.C. It's going to be a marriage seminar, the Jolleys, make love, make money, make it last. We're working out the details where, the cost, but it's going to be fantastic.
So if you're interested, let us know.
Info.
Just send it. Say, I'm interested.
I'm interested.
Details.
Info on williejolly.com. Put me on a list that we'll make sure to get you the details as we put them together. But it's going to be a great event to enhance and enrich marriages. Any last things, Kenny and Rudine?
I think you've said it all.
They are a great example of a happily married couple who love their family and love life, and that is a blessing. So, and they give God the glory. You know, that's one of the things we all do. We God an equal part of your marriage, and that's what we've all done. So, from Dee and Willie, we want to thank you. We want to say, send us. We do want your questions. Got any questions? Things you're struggling with? Send us an email, info@williejolly.com. Get the book. Read it. We got to get you to read the book, go through the chapters, do the tips, and get the audio. The audio is hilarious. It's hilarious. It didn't come from us. It came through us.
Can they get it via a link too or not?
You know what? We'll make that happen.
That would be easy.
That's easy. Thank you, Dee.
You're welcome,
We'll
sweetheart.
make that work. Note to Cheryl. Let's make this the marriage. Let's digitize the audio.
Absolutely.
And make it something that people can download. There you go. Great idea.
Convenience.
You never know. We want to make it easy for you. And any other ideas you got can come from you, come from anywhere. But share this video. Send it, send it, send it. Like it, like it, like it. Send it, send it, send it. We want millions of people to be watching us every Monday night, 9 o'clock. Happily Married Monday with the Jollies. We love you. We love you very much. Our time is up. Jolly out. See y'all.
Wonderful.
Great job.